is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell, so you're notified when new videos drop. And there are rules to YouTubing, right? There are rules to everything in life. They're unwritten, a lot of them unseen. One of the rules is, and yea verily, geeky YouTubers of the menace of fandom will gather together in the month of July, around the 10th, and they will all make reviews of Black Widow for some reason, because it's exactly what you expect it to be, right? It is exactly 100% what you expect it to be, and we're all going to be saying roughly the same thing. But I guess, you know, it's just, yeah, this is what you got to do, baby. This is just the sort of thing you've got to do. So before we get into it, I've seen it, so you don't have to. I'm going to be spoiling the crap out of this thing. If you want to not be spoiled for anything that's insanely obviously gonna happen, if you want to not be spoiled, I would say just like, share, and subscribe, and then, you know, head on your way, go see the movie, then come back and check out this review. Like, share, subscribe are all good things to do. Things I recommend highly. Way over. Go to see Black Widow. Listen, it's not awful, all right? I mean, we have a whole new scale of awful. You know, Doctor Who with Jodie Whittaker, by Chris Chibnall, that's awful. Star Trek Discovery, that's awful. This is, I'd say worse, actually, much more insidious. I was going to say, no, because it's competently made, as is most of the MCU stuff, but it's insidious, evil propaganda, which, you know, is just not a good thing for the world. It's just really not a good thing for the world, and just so much reeking hypocrisy going through every pore of this movie. Fine, so as I said, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit that subscribe button. That'd be freaking awesome. YouTube don't like people subscribing, so that's one in the eyes to them if you hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, please make sure you're still subscribed. And yeah, this is a comic book movie. I would say, rather than putting the money into seeing this movie, go buy my Indiegogo, right? Go buy my Indiegogo. It's two freaking awesome comics. I'm in the trench run, okay? This is it. This is the trench run to finish. I've said this before, but this time I really mean it. I forgot to add in 5 pages last time I was saying this, and now I got the 5 pages. I got the print file ready. However, this week is a week of Jewish mourning, and you're not allowed to increase business. You're supposed to decrease business. So I guess starting Monday, I'm in the trench run, but I want to wrap this up about a week after that. Get it to print, get it in your hands. So you're going to have this by late July, early August. I hope. It's all like, well, what is it you're going to have in your hands? You're going to have this graphic novel, biblical, Bible source, atheists, creators, rationalists, rogues. It's 220 pages long. Kind of got a Sandman-y, Swamp Thing, that kind of vibe going to it. It's very biblically accurate, but not preachy in any way. I mean, that was my goal when I wrote it. Hey, you decide. Tell you what, you buy it, you decide. If you want to sound preachy, that's fine by me. Pay your money. You can say whatever you want. Also, we got this book, The Imperium, 105 pages long, artwork by Dominic Racho, and written by me. Also, freaking awesome. I imagine like James Bond, Doctor Who, Emmett Till, a monkey in a spacesuit, and the Black Slab from 2001. It's my love letter to telly fans of the 1960s. Go check it out. You get a ton of extras. Like this thing, for example. It's a pin-up right now. We're going to supersize it to a poster, I think. I think we're going to hit $8,000. Of course, it's lovely Leela and Raquel Welch from the A Million Years BC with the Time Machine and K9. Why are they together? Who cares, baby? And that's my campaign, right? That's my campaign. In a nutshell, I was in the boss up. Go check out the video notes there. The link is there. Fine. So let's talk about Black Widow. So, boy, was this movie a good 5 years too late. If they made it 5 years ago, it would have been better. It would have been a lot better, and we would have cared about it, right? So sadly, no. So there's this evil propaganda going through the movie that Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, have both been evilly oppressed by a dominant male patriarchy. Even though college-educated white women, especially college-educated, attractive white women, are the most privileged people, in the history of our species. I can't think of anybody more privileged than college-educated, attractive white women. But they are a subclub. But again, it's just The hypocrisy just like drips from this. There's a scene in it where they like make fun of the male gaze, right? Make fun of the male gaze, like in Iron Man 2, where we're first introduced to a character. She has that very sexy pose with her leg out, flicking her hair back, and she looks very sexy, right? So here's the thing. They've removed sex appeal from this character completely. She's still attractive, like any human being is, but they removed the sex appeal from it. So because they have this idea that men and women must be interchangeable, and they're not. Men and women are equal and different and not interchangeable. And I think the more that we try and bang forward that men and women are interchangeable, the more damage, genuine damage we're doing to society. God only knows what's going to be with all these kids who have like taken on these sexual identities, which are not organic to them at all, right? God only knows what's going to be 20 years from now. But anyway, and it's going to be because of these terrible propaganda movies, which this is. So you have like a male spy figure, and you make them not necessarily like make them all rugged, not like glam them up. They get more attractive. They have more sex appeal. The more James Bond gets beat up, the more sex appeal he has. The more craggy he is, the more sex appeal he has. That's not the same with women, because men and women are not interchangeable. That's right, and we've learned this over and over again. Thankfully from Disney mostly. Men and women are not interchangeable. So that scene where they make fun of the hero drop, the sexy pose, that it was because of that sex appeal, which is a part of this character, which is, I would say, an intrinsic part of the character, is why that character became beloved and important to us. I mean, we're not robots. We human beings are sexual beings, and that is part of us, right? It's not the entirety of it, but like Scarlett Johansson, you read the script. You saw the costume. You went for the costume fittings. You knew what was going on. You chose to do this. You chose to sexualize yourself because you saw the rewards of it. So now I think you regret that choice because you got the rewards from it, and you don't like what you did to have to go through with it. But more importantly, you contributed to a society where sex was somewhat transactionable, right? You contributed quite heftily to that society. So I would say, honestly, you are as much to blame for Me Too as Harvey Weinstein. Yes, he was the perpetrator, and there are many, many more in Hollywood. But the reason these perpetrators, did the things they did, and they did terrible things, is because they developed a society where sex was transactional, which, Scarlett Johansson, you are a central part of. Right, you did that, and so now you go, we're gonna be Me Too and throw male gaze, and yeah, fine. You just made a boring movie, right? You took out a really intrinsic element to this movie. The other thing you did is this movie did, I should say, was they can't have a positive male figure, right? And there's an idea where there's kind of like this weird Ersatz family they built up. And it should have been similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, which really worked, right? Because even though all the characters were doofuses in some way, they also had heroic elements to them themselves. So the character I'm talking about is, what's he called? The Russian super soldier played by the guy from Stranger Things. What's his name again? David Harbour. He was the best thing about this movie, in my opinion. But they kept having to show him having no heroic qualities whatsoever. If they showed him having heroic qualities and they built him up a bit more, this movie actually would have been a lot better, right? A lot better. Second thing, I was watching the titles, right? And I saw Ray Winston in the titles. Like, Ray Winston? Freaking love Ray Winston in pretty much everything. He plays the big bad guy in this. And not for long. As far as I can recall, he's in it for basically one scene. Like one scene that's the denouement at the end. And again, I haven't taken notes. He may have been in it more. But he seems to be in it for one scene. And, it's not like they built up the villain in any way. The masterclass of that really would be Black Panther. Black Panther, I think the first Iron Man as well. But Black Panther, where they had Killmonger, and they really built up that character and made him intrinsic to that unit. And yeah, I would say Black Panther was the last movie about social agenda, social justice, or whatever, that wasn't preachy, that wasn't woke, because it really did reflect the black experience in America. It's essentially Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X. It was very clever and fun and entertaining and exciting. Oh, those were the days. Those were the days. Fine. So let's start spoiling this piece of garbage. So it starts off in '95. And young Black Widow is living in was it rural, was it Ohio, I think, with a father, David Harbour, a younger sister, and a mother. Who played the mother again? It was like surprising casting. What's it called again? Not Florence Pugh, it's not Scarlett Johansson. Rachel Weisz. Rachel Weisz plays the mother, the faux mother, and what it is, they're on some undercover mission, and they've had to pretend to be a family together. You find out, and then they get whatever they need to get, and they're trying to escape, and they're kind of upset. They need to escape, and you see David Harbour's character have some super strength at one point while they're escaping, and then they arrive in Cuba. They escape. They make it to Cuba, and young Black Widow and her younger sister are then shipped off to, I think, or maybe just the younger sister, shipped off to the incredibly cruel Black Widow training program. So they become sexy super assassins, but not sexy because there's no male gaze here, right? Whoever heard of a sexy super assassin not being sexy? Now, there were a couple of scenes that Scarlett Johansson couldn't help but be sexy. I mean, you just, her ass looked good in a couple of scenes, but it was purely by accident. I think if she sees that again, they're gonna Photoshop or do a digital burqa on her. God forbid. She should be attractive. Yeah, so they get sent to the Red Room, and then it switches to 2016, and I can't remember what happens where in the Avengers, and this is, I think, after Captain America: Civil War, when they're on the run. And I didn't even remember who's on which side. It's so much time has gone by, right? So it's 2016, and she's on the run. Secretary of State Thaddeus Ross, played by what's it called again? William Hurt, who also played. He played Warmonger in the first Iron Man movie. It's interesting how they have the same actor. So he's trying to track down the Avengers, and so let me look at the what's it called again? The Wikipedia Wikipedia synopsis. That's what I'm looking for, because I can't remember this bollocks. I mean, really, who cares? Who cares? Well, I'm using Safari now. I'm not using what's it called anymore. There we go. Turn this on. Move it over here. Let's have a look. Fine. So 2016, Romanoff is a fugitive for violating the Sokovia Accords. She escapes from the U.S. Secretary of State Thaddeus, that's William Hurt, and flees to a safe house in Norway set up by Rick Mason. I'm not sure who this guy is, Rick Mason, right? He's kind of like this convenient, non-threatening, non-white male, but still a male who gets the stuff. Right? So do we see any more? Let's see. Rick Mason is an agent. The agent is a fictional character appearing in the American comic book series. Okay, fine. So apparently he's a character, right? He's a character. He is. Meanwhile, Belova kills a former rogue Black Widow when she comes into substance with this red dust. Fine. So that's the main plot of the movie. It's Florence Pugh, like the less attractive younger Black Widow, right? It's she's on a mission and she gets doused with this red mist thing, which breaks her conditioning, which breaks her mind control. So a big theme of this movie is how women are evilly controlled by men, right? I mean, I think men equally controlled by women. It's just like people are controlled by people, right? I get it. Harvey Weinstein was a bad person, and there's hundreds, maybe thousands of Harvey Weinsteins in this sick society, which you, Scarlett Johansson, had a big hand in building this society, in maintaining this society. Yeah, but I understand they're uniquely awful to women in unique ways. They're also awful to men as well in different ways. It's just different ways. But awful people, generally speaking, are awful, right? It's not like, hey, we're gonna be awful to women. No, they're awful to everyone. But that's the thing in this movie. They got this red mist that gets rid of the Black Widow conditioning because they're all being brain controlled. When was it Romanoff unknowingly dives off with the acid. Oh yeah, fine. So then the next thing, she's in her safe house, and that bloke who sets up gives her mail from their last safe house, and it's got something from. It's got that antidote from a sister, from a folks younger sister, the red mist stone. So that gets Taskmaster chasing after her. Again, I don't know anything about Taskmaster whatsoever. There was one fight scene that actually wasn't bad with Black Widow and Taskmaster at the beginning on a bridge. That was actually quite good. But a recurring problem with this movie is the direction just isn't very strong. It's a director. It's a female director who's. Yeah, identity is everything, and you get the feeling that she hasn't done much of this stuff before. The action is underdramatic, and it focuses on the wrong thing. It just doesn't really gel very well, right? It just, as well as the script as well, but the action is just like, it's underwhelming, right? It's weird, but it's underwhelming. So then Black Widow and her younger sister team up in Budapest or Budapest. They have an argument about how it's pronounced, and she finds out that the Red Room, the Black Widow training program, is still active. So Romanov and Belova, that's the name of her sister, evade the Widows and Taskmaster before meeting Mason, who supplies them with a helicopter. Yeah, it's all very convenient. So then they decide to break out the super soldier, David Harbour, from prison. And here again, he's a super soldier, right? He's a super soldier. They completely remove any form of heroism with the character. He's essentially a big, strong doofus. So they're breaking him out of prison, and he screws up because he's a big, strong doofus, right? And Black Widow has to swing in to save him. What would have been better is if he wasn't a doofus and he was breaking out of prison, and they had some way of explaining how they kept a super soldier in prison, right? But he was breaking out of prison, and he was just overwhelmed by all the incredible amounts of security. And then Black Widow comes and swings by and picks him up, and it'll be heroic, right? It would have been heroic. But instead it was just like, men. That's it. Yeah, it because that's what's important in this movie: the agenda, not the entertainment. Having said that, I have a neighbor whose daughter was so excited to see this. I have to see if they've seen it yet, if they liked it. Listen, if you're not red-pilled, you're not gonna be made crazy about this, because They do it subtly. They do. You have to think about it. They do it subtly. In the way, but again, by making this David Harbour super soldier a massive doofus. So then after that they go. He says, I don't know where the Red Room is. So then they go to find Rachel Weisz, who's still who was the brains, obviously, who's a scientist, and they have this really disturbing scene when they talk about mind control, and they got this really cute pigs that she's with, and she uses her iPad to bring a pig in because to show the incredible control, and then she says she stops the pig from breathing, and I know it's not real, right? I know it's pretend, but honestly, the pig's very cute, right? And it kills over and stops breathing. I'm like, this is horrible. This is really horrible and disturbing, and it just again. It's just tone deaf. I think the reason it's tone deaf is they have to have a female creative team, and women, generally speaking, don't go in for action movies. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but that's really the truth. That's not saying no women go into it. I'm saying that if you're gonna pull your talent from a smaller group. So let's say if you're pulling your talent from 100% of your target audience, or the people who understand and like your genre, right? You're probably going to get better quality. When you're pulling your target group from a minority of your audience, like 20%, which is 20 to 30%, probably, then inevitably, the quality goes down. And you can tell that they brought in other people to help compensate their deficiencies, but it's really not, it just doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work. So again, you get a very flat, lackluster movie. So they, what was next? So then they go after Ray Winston, who's the big boss, and they find the Red Room, which is kind of like in a shield helipad thing, like flying in the air constantly. And at that point, you meet Ray Winston, who's the evil white man. And Black Widow can't kill him because he's got some like pheromone control. When she smells him, her brain locks up. And so it's all, and then you think that Rachel Weisz has double-crossed them to give him to Ray Winston. Turns out, no, they're really double-crossing Ray Winston. And there's a point where she can't, Scarlett Johansson can't fight back because of the brain lock, and he's just like hitting her, but is not doing a very good job at it. And eventually it turns out she's trying to get him to cut this bit of a brain that's stopping this gland or something, and she ends up just banging her head on the table to do it. So look, long story short, they escape. They escape. They free all the Black Widows, which amazingly, I think they're all black. Okay, they're all black women. They free all the Black Widows from the evil male mind control, and they go off. And then you have a post-credit sequence after Romano's death. So that must be 5 years later, right? There was 5 years. Didn't she die in the second in Avengers Endgame, which was 5 years after the blip? The whole thing was stupid. Honestly, what they should have had done is had Iron Man, when he did the snap, right? Instead of bringing everybody back then, no, to show how incredibly smart Iron Man is, he makes an amalgam of both worlds, of what happens in the current world post-snap and the world pre-snap, and puts them all together, boom. And so you're back with a brave new world, right? But no, they didn't do that. So it must be else is you get a little scene with what's it called again? Julia Louise-Dreyfus, who was in Falcon and Winter Soldier at the end, and she's when she goes to meet the younger Black Widow, Black Widow's younger sister, who they're clearly bringing in as a new Black Widow, and recruits her for a mission to take out Clint Barton, who was responsible for killing Natasha Romanoff. So we got her as a new Black Widow, and we also got the US agent, who was again the best thing from Falcon and Winter Soldier. So they're building some kind of Avengers Dark with Julia Louise-Dreyfus. I guess they're going to bring in Sylvie. So I don't know. Like I guess who cares? Who cares? Maybe we'll get a bit of Riri Williams action. But again, bottom line, it's just a flat, reasonably dull movie, right? And basically what it is a flat, reasonably dull movie, completely predictable, full of obnoxious agenda, both behind and in front of the camera. It's everything that you would expect, as we led off with. I'm excited. I can't imagine, by the way, what it would have been like going into WandaVision if we've seen this first. Right, this is such clearly screaming, this is the MCU. I think WandaVision had actually done worse. Oh, there's also one more thing. Black Widow is haunted, right? Haunted by killing Ray Winston's daughter when she tried to kill Ray Winston as a Black Widow years and years earlier. Turns out that Taskmaster is really Ray Winston's daughter. So Taskmaster is sex swapped to be a woman. I think, again, I don't really know much about it at all, but it's everything you would expect. The reason the MCU worked and the reason superhero movies became such an incredible force in cinema, And they are. There's a mind-blowing force in cinema. The reason for that is because they stayed very accurate to the comic, right? They stayed very, very accurate to the myth of the comic, and those early MCU movies were all fantastic, right? And they did, and they brought me into the comic, right? So then they did a thing a few years ago where they said, "Oh, let's write comics that we can make movies of that we want to make," which is full of this agenda-driven garbage, which is what caused the implosion of the comic book industry. Which doesn't really exist anymore. I think we're probably going to see exactly the same thing. I don't really care. Listen, I'm covering it because I gotta cover it. It's part of the unreal rules of being a geeky YouTuber. So there you are, Black Widow. I've seen it, so you don't have to. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think, and have yourselves a great day. A good way of having yourself a great day, by the way, is not seeing Black Widow, but it would be instead going over to my Indiegogo and going to buy it. Right, this thing over here. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Have yourself a great day.